Hey everyone. Today we're diving into 2 chilling stories that will change how you feel about what happens after we die, forever. The photos in these 2 cases truly shocked me, and I've seen tons of paranormal photos over the years. These are not for the faint of heart. Welcome to You Should Be Scared. I'm your host, Taylor Davies, and this is your number 1 destination for everything mysterious and unexplained. Our first case is that of teenager John Boulware. John was a normal 16-year-old kid from St. Paul, Minnesota. Until something tragic happened, that is. One night on a deserted road just outside of town, John was in a horrific car accident. The weather was stormy, with heavy rain making the road slick and treacherous. He and 3 friends were driving around when John's friend lost control of the car and hit a tree at high speed. The crash happened around midnight, and the severity of the impact was devastating. The car was mangled beyond recognition, and the sound of the crash echoed through the night. Emergency services arrived quickly, but the scene was chaotic and grim. John's 3 friends were injured, but thankfully survived, but John's injuries were extremely severe, and sadly he was killed on impact. But that's not the end of the story. It's actually just the beginning. At the crash site, after John's friends had been rushed to the hospital for treatment, the police meticulously proceeded to take pictures of the crash site, capturing every detail of the scene and John's body for their report. As they reviewed the photos, the initial reactions of the officers ranged from disbelief to sheer shock. What they found in those photos chilled them to their cores. On your screen now are the photos, and you can see why they had such a profound effect on everyone who saw them. Because right there in the pictures was something that looked exactly like John. Or at least John's spectre anyway. A haunting face that seemed to be screaming in terror, anger and frustration from a realm just beyond ours was captured in the photos. The ghostly figure had hollow eyes, a gaping mouth and an ethereal glow that sent chills down the spine of anyone who saw it. People who viewed the photos were left speechless, some even claiming to feel a cold presence in the room. It was like he was stuck between this world and the next, unable to accept the terrible thing that had happened to him. The paranormal community quickly disseminated these pictures, and everyone who examined them, including me, was filled with feelings of fear, sadness, and dread. Renowned paranormal expert Dr. Emily Carter commented,
"These images are some of the most compelling evidence of a haunting I've ever seen."
Skeptic James O'Neill countered,
"While intriguing, these photos could easily be manipulated. We need more proof."
Could it really be John's tormented ghost not ready to move on? The photos sparked intense debates, with believers and skeptics clashing in forums and social media. The impact on the community was profound, reigniting interest in the paranormal and dividing opinions like never before. Our next story takes us back to 1959. Here we find the somber figure of Mrs. Mabel Chinnery, who is stood at her mother's graveside. It was a gloomy day, the sky overcast with a blanket of grey clouds, casting a melancholic shadow over the old cemetery. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filled the air, providing a fitting backdrop for the sorrow weighing heavily on Mrs. Chinnery's heart. She had come to pay her respects, to connect with the memory of her beloved mother, whose loss still felt like a fresh wound. Mrs. Chinnery had her camera with her so she could take pictures of the graveyard. Photography was a hobby she had picked up recently, finding solace in capturing moments and memories through the lens. The graveyard, with its ancient tombstones and eerie silence, presented a hauntingly beautiful subject for her photographs. She moved slowly, almost reverently, as she framed each shot, the click of the shutter echoing softly in the stillness. Her husband was waiting alone in the car. He sat patiently, a figure of quiet support, understanding the depth of her grief. The car, parked under a gnarled old tree, seemed to blend into the somber landscape. Mrs. Chinnery, feeling a sudden urge to capture this moment of solitude, raised her camera and snapped a picture of her husband through the car window. The Chinnerys believed he was alone in the car. How wrong they were. The graveyard seemed deserted, and the only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the distant cawing of crows. It was a place of solitude, where one could feel the weight of history and the presence of those who had long since passed. When the photos were developed, the couple was taken aback when they noticed a person with glasses seated in the back seat of the vehicle. The figure was unmistakable, a ghostly presence that was out of place in time. Mrs. Chinnery's heart raced as she examined the photograph, her mind struggling to make sense of what she was seeing. The image was clear, the details sharp, and there was no denying the presence of the mysterious figure. The picture instantly reminded Mrs. Chinnery of her mother, whose grave they had visited that day. The resemblance was uncanny, from the glasses to the gentle, familiar expression. It was as if her mother had somehow found a way to join them, to be present in that moment of grief and remembrance. The photograph became a source of both comfort and mystery, a tangible connection to the past that defied explanation. The image was sent for analysis, and after looking at the print, a photographic specialist concluded that the woman's image was neither a reflection or a double exposure. The expert's analysis only deepened the mystery, confirming that the photograph was genuine and unaltered. The Chinnerys were left with more questions than answers, their encounter with the supernatural forever etched in their memories. The photograph, a simple snapshot taken on a somber day, had captured something extraordinary, a glimpse into a world just beyond our own. Some people believe that these photos are merely optical illusions. However, others believe these photos serve as undeniable evidence of the existence of ghosts. Do you believe these photos show John's tormented ghost? And what about the apparition of Mrs. Chinnery's mother? Or is it all just a spooky coincidence? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what you think. The stories behind these haunting images prove that real life can be so much scarier than any made-up story. Make sure you follow me for more spooky stories that will keep you awake at night. And if you're not ready to leave just yet, click on one of the videos on the screen to continue the mystery. Stay curious, stay cautious, and stay tuned for more unexplained mysteries. And remember, you should be scared.